Thanks for staying with us. You're welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Well, we are now being joined from Arise Abuja studios by Segun Sowunmi, a member of the People's Democratic Party, who actually served as National Publicity Secretary of the party for some house-clearing discussion around the long-running crisis that has affected his ability to reposition ahead of the 2027 elections. Good morning and welcome to the morning show, Mr. Segun Sowunmi.
Good morning, Steve, my man. But let me correct you quickly. I've never served as the National Publicity Secretary. There is no way I would have served as National Publicity Secretary of PDP, and it would resemble that. Narrative would have been better. What I did was I was the spokesperson for His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, 2 elections back to back. I've been many other things, but not the National Publicity Secretary, Steve. It would have been different completely. How are you?
Very well. Good to hear from you. Thank you. Thanks for the clarification. All right, let's talk about your party. Right. Particularly the issues that are germane now. The issue affecting the General Secretary. We see, of course, that the governors, 12 of them, converged in Delta in Asaba, a couple of days ago, and came out with a number of resolutions. But then we're also hearing that in spite of the fact that the governors are queuing behind one of the factions to the General Secretaryship, who is Sunday Udeokwe. Now, the other gentleman, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, is insisting that he's still the General Secretary. And as a matter of fact, he has petitioned the Inspector General of Police. Do you think that peace is nigh, or are we to witness yet another round of confusion within the PDP?
Oh, Steve, my man. Oji, I greet you too.
Good morning.
Steve, I really would have preferred that this was not the type of question you asked me. Why? Because I know Sam Daddy very well, is my good friend, and I know Ude Okoye very, very well, is my good friend. And really, ordinarily, I would not be interested in what they're doing for now until the matter is fully settled. But having said that, let me try and speak to you as to what the procedure ought to be. Most people don't understand that there's a marked difference between a convention that produces the National Working Committee of the party and their private wishes. A convention brings all the cells from all over the country together and within our laws to take a position. Now, if anything is going to affect anybody that was conventionally installed, it has to complete his route through the courts. Unless, of course, the fellow is magnanimous enough to let it go his rights. To make the point very clear, you recall that when we were running the 2023 election, there was a time when there was a lot of conversation that IU, the then chairman, should step aside since we now had an Atiku Northern president and an IU Northern chairman. They couldn't get it done until they went to the court and exhausted themselves in court, and then it became a fait accompli. Now, then they moved to the point where they said, oh, they wanted the Damagun acting chairman to leave the place so that they can replace him with somebody from the North Central. Up till now, it's still not done because he has a legitimate life from a convention. Now we are now at the point where they are saying, okay, there is a gathering in Enugu where they said they have a vote of confidence on Ude Okoye and they want him to be secretary. Unfortunately, the rights you have can also be challenged in court. Wanyanwu has stuck to his gun and he has gone to court to say, look, I am legitimately vice secretary. The law allows me to go and run chairman and come back to my seat because that's the position of the Constitution. Okay, you have gone to the Court of Appeal to say, oh, the Court of Appeal is affirming what the High Court in Enugu has done. But please, can I ask you, is the Court of Appeal the final court in this matter? Now, they are going to the Supreme Court. So I believe that the best thing would be for the PDP people to understand that what is there to be gained in insisting that you want to struggle for 100% of zero, and what is to be gained in people saying they don't want you and you insisting you want to stay. You know, it's a laughable situation. It's a piteous situation. It's a draining situation. It's an extremely sad situation. But I always say, if they don't have, the leaders that are masquerading as PDP leaders now don't have capacity. And I say that with every sense of responsibility. We lost the election in 2015. And the vice president, the then President Jonathan, of course, will be dealing with post-election issues. And almost all our followers or leaders were running issues with EFCC and all that. But the party did not start looking like this. Some men provided leadership in a robust manner, persuading people at the back, doing whatever they could to keep the party together. We have lost an election in 2023, miserably, and post-2023, those who are calling themselves leaders of the party are incapable of stabilizing the house. They should go through it. When we get to the Supreme Court on Anyanwu's case, we'll go to Supreme Court on Damagun. Maybe then we'll find another person to start quarreling with. Then we'll go to the Supreme Court on that. By the time we had finished dancing all over the Supreme Court, back and forth, maybe by then the election will be over, and then they will then ask themselves, all this nonsense that they are doing is for what end and to what purpose? All
right. Segun, nice to have you on the morning show. I mean, I believe that Steve had asked you a question.
Thank you,
do you believe that peace has been restored within your party following this confirmation of Okoye as the national secretary? And I ask again because, unfortunately, Segun, many Nigerians have lost hope in the PDP as a strong opposition. Only last year we saw that, the governors who are said to be the major financiers of the party were talking about wanting to seize the party structure and challenge Atiku Abubakar and Wike. I mean, whatever happened to that struggle? And, there's been a lot of talks about, this sort of rumored coalition. I'd like to know your thoughts on all of these.
He who is mostly vilified, and if you like, whom when you mention his name, you are accused of having been funded by him, it is his role in the party over the years that is now clearly becoming a gaping hole. I've always said that Nyesom Wike is the Achilles, the key man risk. If you are a finance person or a consultant or somebody that is in management, you'll understand what they call a key man risk. A key man risk is that one person that his functionality and well-being impacts your organization one way or the other. And I've concluded without any reservation and no apologies to anybody that Wike is a key man risk of the PDP. Had he been functioning in the PDP the way they had known him, I can guarantee you all of these things going on, he would have found a way, whether dancing, bribing, begging, speaking, bullying, to stabilize them. His absence is clearly a question of if he didn't day, he didn't day. Now, as peace returned to the party, how could peace have returned to the party when, let me tell you something that interests you. The BOT leadership sat in Enugu with all of the Southeastern leaders. They affirmed Okoye. Yet, they were invited to a meeting in Wadata House that had Awanya, whom they say they don't want, seated there. They watched Okoye get bullied out of the place, and yet they did not protest. They didn't leave the place. They sat down there. They completed the meeting. They gave a communique. So you get the impression that the elders have become like children who don't have the capability and the strength of character to say, this is our position, and we're standing by it. And then what do you want the party to do? The members, people like us that are passionate members of the party, slowly but gradually, we're beginning to accept the reality that it's almost a nunc dimittis. If you have ever lost a parent or a loved one that is elderly, you know that process when they go to the hospital, you are visiting them every day, and sometimes you get to a point where you just know that, okay, you can't strangle them, you can't kill them, you don't want them to put up the oxygen, but you know that you're going to come and they're going to tell you that it's all over. That's what the BDP is doing to itself. It's in an ICT, intensive care. It's blaming everybody but itself. We have blamed the president for even taking Wike. We have not blamed ourselves for not having someone that has the balls and the capacity to reverse the process. We have blamed other people for causing problems that we're the ones causing ourselves, or they are the ones causing themselves. We have blamed, we're going to do a united merger, a merger that does not give you the powers to deregister the PDP or to deregister any of the other party. So my sister, my brother, Steve, my man, I think that I've accepted that everything that has a beginning can sometimes have an end. My hope is that maybe by us speaking some truth to them, they can take a halt and ask themselves that really what is the problem? And my consolation, if there be any, is that the crisis is only at the top. The baseline of the party at the ward level is a bit stable. The party at the local government level is stable. The party at the states, in most of the states, is stable. The party in the zones, minus a little bit of the issues in the southeast, is a bit stable. We're not having any problem in the zone of the southwest. We're not having in the south. We don't really have any major problem in the north central, northeast, and northwest. So maybe the only problem we have is in the NWC. And then you look at the NWC itself. Perhaps we should say the only issue we have is maybe the top two. We don't seem to have any problem with the national organizing. We don't really have any problem with the publicity and all the others. So if they can recognize that you can't continue like this in an election, in a situation when we have lost 3 elections back to back, blaming everybody except ourselves, I think we will be okay. But those who want to leave the party, who are tired and think that maybe they can do some amalgamation of decamping that they are calling merger, they should just decamp and let the party have peace. If some of them even live to this, their so-called merger process, maybe we'll be able to see who is left. Maybe the ones that will be left will be like orphans who will then know that their fathers and mothers are dead and they now have to, on their own energy, move themselves forward. But something has to give. It's nasty because it's giving the whole country and the democratic conversation in the country, is making it look untidy. It's making it look uninspiring. It's wearing out all the young people in the country and people that are potential voters for a nation where people don't even turn up to vote because they don't have real clear choices. Do you expect the oldest, one of the most stable, one of the most consistent, one of the most democratic party to be managed by kindergartens? Of course. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare.
All right, very strong words you've used this morning, Mr. Sowunmi. And
but you know me, Steve.
It's understandable.
You know me, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely, it's understandable. Maybe that's the reality. But you know, because it keeps coming to my head, you know, the passionate appeal that you made to the former governor of Ekiti, Oshokumole, Peter Ayodele Fayose, the other time. It looks to me like nothing came out of it. If anything had come out of it at all, it would be that Fayose has donated, you know, one of his key men, Larry Olayinka, to Nyesom Wike, you know, as one of his spokesperson. And therefore, it looks like the issues that you have clearly enumerated are deeper, you know, than we think, particularly at the top within the NWC. My question to you is, what role do you think the man that you spoke for his presidential campaign the other time, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, what role do you think he can play in all this if there's still anything left to be salvaged? You use the word to say that those who want to leave, let them leave. But people think that if there will be a formidable opposition in 2027, it will have to be a merger of some sort. And individuals like Atiku, like Peter Obi, like Kwakwanso maybe, we've seen Rotimi Amechi, we've seen El-Rufai, some are even mentioning Kayode Fayemi, that is the sort of a thing that could lead to a fight, you know, not necessarily a victory. But if there will be a fight in 2027, it will be a merger of some sort. But here you are saying that it doesn't look like it. You are basically almost throwing your hands up in the air and saying, okay, maybe another time will come. Is that what you have?
No. Steve, no. Now let me try and, you know, break it down a bit. I'll start from the tail and then get back to the article question. The president and the APC, with all of his energies, was allocated 8-point-something million votes. Total available PVC collected is about 86 million or thereabout. Someone cannot earn 8.6 million votes, and you all will be saying that unless you merge, you don't have the ability to stimulate and go into the process of the field and get Nigerians, first of all, to even be willing to take a stand on election. That's a very lazy approach. The second is that if you look at our last numbers, you would even say that if they want to build any opposition, going by the last numbers, they have to build it around Peter, because at least he was able to come with the votes of the Southeast, that of the South-South, that of the Federal Capital Territory, and a little bit of that of Lagos. He would say that, okay, if a small child is trying to lift a heavy object, why don't the elders just help him to carry it up if they are sincere? Now, if you say that your thinkings is that you think that there's an imaginary large number in the north, I've asked myself often, how many of the incumbents in the north, the governors, the ones that are going to be needing a second term, and the ones that want to do succession, has agreed that they are going to betray their party? Okay, one or two men are upset. If they are upset, does their anger and upset and disappointment translate to the totality of the election space? Are you going to be able to win an election after 2023 only on your tribal hunch? It's not going to work. You don't have a homogeneous North. Have you asked the North Central what their position is relative to the next election? So I'm saying clearly that it's very lazy and extremely annoying that a political party like PDP is not working very hard in the field to try to make itself electable. And to do that, they need to stop the quarrel, one. Number two, they need to do a differentiation of why people should vote for them. You can't be speaking from the same side as the ruling party. You are not as efficient as them, and you want people to dump them for you. You can't be saying, oh, I want to be president, and your only pathway for presidency is not to get into the field and start working, but to sit there and be thinking that some people are going to come and join you. When you bring all 6 of you together, which of you have agreed to be the president? Then all of you will then bolt out of the arrangement, claiming that you didn't get what you want. You who cannot even endure in a legacy party like PDP, are you the ones that one will have hope that you will endure if you go to another party and you don't get what you want? Now back to the article, and what should Atiku do? With due respect to him, I've asked him twice, and I'm going to ask him one more time, and then we'll pack it off. I've said to him, sir, do you want to run again? If you want to run again, okay, let's say that you want to run. Call those of us that think for you and think with you and plan with you. Let us now go and engage it differently. I ask you, when the president of America, Donald Trump, when he lost the last election to Biden, did he start going all over the place looking for an impossible coalition so that the Labour Party, what's that their party called now? The Green Party, all the other small parties come and join him to win? No, he didn't do that. He got into the field, he engaged the people, he created the narrative, he made the differentiation, he told the Americans what exactly he's bringing that is different from Biden, and today he's president by the largest margin ever. Why would people be lazy and think that the presidency of Nigeria will be dashed to them as a gift? It's the reason why I created the alternative. And you will notice I've been going around, engaging the Nigerian people, trying to tell them, okay, guys, let us answer 4 questions. 1, will all the votes be paid for? Do you not understand the danger of this vote buying and vote selling? With a view to getting them to change. 2, what do you consider your responsibility as a citizen of the country when you have a PVC and you don't even come out to vote? 3, are we going to be a nation that will only be discussing everything from the tribal viewpoint? Oh, is this, is that? If you have a problem with Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president, say you have a problem with him and stop saying you have a problem with the Yorubas. If you have a problem with Peter Obi, say you have a problem with Peter Obi and stop saying you have a problem with the Igbos. If you have a problem with Atiku, say you have a problem with Atiku and stop saying you have a problem with the Hausa, because you can't have a nation that is as vibrant as ours and then be allowed to be foldering and tittering and expanding itself only on tribal lines. We need to be a little bit more cohesive and nationalistic. And then I've also been saying to them, if we have been giving you candidates you don't like, why don't you find us good materials around you? There's no question of, some people will be the one to be the politician, and some of you will be deceiving yourself that you don't have to be involved, or some people who will come and say they want to contest, and some of you will not even be interested in the issues. You are not going to come and defeat any incumbent just by thinking that you can be saying you are harvesting misery. The bottom line is that you must be bringing to the table realistic, actionable, verifiable, at least hopeful ideas of, okay, if they are doing it like this, I don't agree. This is what I'm going to do. You can't sit down and just be piggybacking on their, if they didn't do the subsidy, you would have done the subsidy. You all said you were going to remove the subsidy for damn sake. You can't say, they are not farming, they are not farming. Who's stopping you from going to the farm? They cannot feed inflation, food inflation. Is it the one that's telling you to go and be killing people in the far ends of the country and preventing people from going to the farm? If these are the circumstances we are dealing with, the essence of opposition is to sit and then begin to say, okay, this is what they represent, this is what we represent, this is where they are going, this is what we're going. There is a pathway for them to win without all this nonsense talk of merger. And if anybody wants to come to any party, don't go to another man's party. I hear them talking about SDP. With due respect, Shehu Gaba, my brother, don't allow them to come to your party and start dictating tones and dictating the attitude that they used to destroy their party. Never allow them to bring into your party. What they can do is decamp, is their right. But they cannot be saying that because, okay, with due respect to some of them that I love, what will Fayemi say is reason for wanting to decamp? That he didn't complete his tenure or because they didn't give him a minister? What will, with due respect to Nasiru, say is the reason for the camp? That he chose a governorship candidate in Kaduna that he can't manage by himself? How is that the problem of the APC? And what will any one of them say? Peter, that he couldn't manage his Labour Party obedient, or what exactly? They have a right to look for a platform to contest their election, but they must call it that. They can't be giving the impression that those of us that have been loyal, stable, staying with the PDP since it was formed, that we are fools because we are saying, don't destroy the house because you can't have your way. What about the times you've had your ways in the past? And now back to Atiku, I think he should just, ask himself, does he have the energy for this fight? And is the fight worth it for him? Does he desire... Is there anything he would have done differently than what his friend Bola is doing? Because it's easy to be talking about details. They come from the same Yaradua school of thought. And their thought processes in terms of private sector driving the economy is almost the same. And okay, there will be different personalities. Maybe he will balance it more. But that's for him to say. But nobody's going to allow you to destroy a democracy that all of us fought for together only because you are not having your way. And if it is the will of the God that the person in charge of the country is going to be in charge forever, so be it, because I can't see how you will be injuring yourself, you'll be cutting your nose to spite your face, and then you'll be screaming that the guy is trying to run a one-party state.
Or you meant for 8 years. You meant for 8 years, Mr. Sowunmi. When you say the person who is there.
No, what I mean is that, you know what but if the president wins, if the president wins 2027,
yes, without
conceding, if he wins that election, by the time his party, the APC, flips to the north in 2031, do you know how many fine materials they have? I can give you 10. That's one of the reasons why I'm even pitying Nasiru, because I don't expect Nasiru to be getting involved in nonsense. He is a potential president. But he can't be jumping here, getting angry. No! You can't be the reason why every time the party, you are the reason, Nasiru were the reason why the PDP even started having problems in the first instance. Is that not where he started from? So Nasiru is going to be the reason why APC is going to have problem again. Meaning what?
All right. Mr. Sowunmi, you have spoken very, very passionately about the PDP, and it appears that you need to do more by yourself besides just talking. You've talked about Atiku Abubakar. If he had to return, you'll change the format for him to engage more with the Nigerian people differently. I mean, I'm sure that we saw that during the election. I mean, he did engage, he did campaign. I don't see what will be different from what you've been saying. And, I think talking about even putting up new candidates will be a better format, because you saying that a merger is not a good thing. I know that the APC became a formidable party through a coalition and through some sort of merger. I mean, shouldn't that be what the PDP should be looking into?
Do you know the difference? OJ, let me tell you the difference. ACN was practically in the hands of Baba Akande and Bola Tinubu. CPC was in the hands of former President Buhari. They agreed to deregister those parties. So when they got into the merger conversation in APC, even when they were unhappy in the arrangement, there was nowhere else for them to bolt to. If they had had CPC and had ACN, I guarantee you some of them, maybe when they didn't get their Muslim ticket, someone like Ashadu would have voted to CPC, back to his ACN. Maybe if President Muhammadu Buhari was getting irritated at their inability to come to meetings early, maybe he would have voted back to his CPC. But they didn't have where to bulge to. In this particular instance, who is going to deregister PDP for them? So it will be one more party plus PDP candidate. Who is going to deregister Labour for them? It will be one more party plus Labour candidate. Who is going to deregister any of the parties for them? And their character and attitude does not suggest that any one of them is strategic enough and big enough in heart to say, okay, I am going to preside over this merger and I am not going to be up for president. That would be something. So there will be some kind of big man on whose table the sharing will take place. But hey, I may be wrong. I may be wrong. But maybe now that we had it in public, we can file it for the archives. Thank God it's always been on social media. When they are done with this, they are rigmarole and dancing about for nonsense, we'll come back and have this conversation again because I can guarantee you for free, it won't work.
All right. I mean, I get you clearly. But I want to go back very quickly to one key important thing that you said about the fact that, reality is staring PDP in the face. You said that you lost 3 elections, in the past, in the recent past. Of course, Edo, that you lost the governorship is there. The case might still be in court.
With due respect, we did not lose Edo. We are in court in Edo and we're insisting that we won Edo.
Yeah, but you just said that you lost 3 elections, a few minutes ago. That's what you said. So where?
No, I was talking about the federal. I was talking about 2015, 2019, and 2023 presidential.
Oh, okay, all right. So I'm talking about other realities that show that APC as of today has 21 governors. Your party has 12. ABGA, ABGA, Labour, NMPP, 1 each. So you are dealing with something of a behemoth, with 21 governors and a president. 2 more elections coming soon, off-cycle elections and governorship. Anambra is coming later in the year in November. Osun State is coming. Osun, your party is the incumbent. If Osun goes, it means that the depletion is getting rapid, just like Edo, if you're not able to take Edo back. So my point is that as we race towards 2027, shouldn't PDP just concentrate on the areas of strength where you are, rather than think that anybody who wants to go, let them go. If we marshal our argument well and we package ourselves better, we can give it a shot. Yeah.
Steve, you are tempting me to run for president. Because you make it, when you speak about that, hold on, when you speak about an idea, it always seems impossible in the minds of those who have not conceived it well. The elections of 2023 produced 8-point-something million votes for APC with all their numerous governors. 6.9 for Atiku, 6.1 for Peter. Clearly speaking, it means that the impact of the governors was not that much on election day. And against a backdrop of a larger pool of electorate who we have not succeeded in inspiring, if we can inspire a larger chunk of those ones, what will their governors do? That's that. The second one is nobody agrees in this country that our issue with election, that our elections have the type of integrity that can make us be absolutely sure that the votes were counted and that the counted votes is what produced the outcome. If we have that kind of challenge on our hand, you can't even blame us or anybody that lost or did not lose, because in the real sense of the word, you could say technically we're not sure. Because if you do BVAS and you do IREV, and BVAS and IREV are not tallying, you are running a broken system. And even with the broken system, my persuasion is that if the Nigerian people find out that their food inflation numbers are very bad, find out that the cost of exchange of their country is very weak, find out that their country is even not properly well administered relative to how you balance power, then that is some energy that any smart opposition party can run on. And PDP has structures all over the nooks and crannies. We need to go back and re-engage the electorate. That's what I am doing with the alternative. You have to go back and re-engage the people. You have to go and persuade them. You have to go and beg. You can't just be showing up in people's faces only when you are ready for election. And like I always say, every election is a two-way referendum. It's a referendum on the ruling party and its policy, but it's also a referendum on the opposition and what it's doing with itself. It is in that second part of it, the referendum of the opposition, that gives me the reason to be telling PDP, can you people just stop this thing immediately and let's settle down? And if they want a solution to the impasse that we have now, instead of them sitting down and looking for miracles that will not happen, they should call an early Congress. Almost all the cases on ESCO will expire. We'll do an early Congress. They can sit in the room, share it however they want, and then you have a new executive that you can then work with for 1 year before you start getting into issues. If you continue this journey, I can guarantee you something, Steve. Steve, I promise you I'm not going to be in opposition the next dispensation. If I finish all my energy on this trying to persuade them to listen, I'm going to dump them and go to my father, my brother, my kingsman, Bola Tinubu. I've been assessing his policies seriously.
Are you not confirming?
Hold on.
Are you not confirming, what the word that is out there? That's the word out there.
Steve, listen, let's talk to ourselves as brothers. Let's pretend that the audience is not listening. I have been asking myself, what exactly are they trying to do here? If the only thing they are thinking about is their own personal selfishness, and clearly they are going to get themselves into misery, am I going to keep carrying my people and my followers since 1998 and we have been standing in PDP when the leaders who have profited the most, who have been vice president, they've been governor, they've been ministers, they've been everything in the party, and all they can see to do is be demarketing their own party. Right. I believe that PDP can win the next election, but we cannot be the one injuring ourselves, and I'm not the one injuring them.
All right. I've gone
to the northwest, the north central, the northeast, the south, the southeast on an alternative conversation, just trying to beg Nigerians to let us keep re-engaging. If that is not commendable, tell me what is.
Absolutely, I do get your point very clearly, and it, it's something to chew on. We want to thank you, Sowunmi, for yet another beautiful, candid, and interesting engagement on the morning show today. Thank you so much.